This dog runs to the crying baby. Then he did something amazing. Dogs are obviously man's best friend, but there's something very touching and sweet about the friendship between kids and their pets. It's amazing to see the affectionate and loving way dogs react to children, almost as if they were their own children. These friendship stories will really melt your heart, so you certainly don't want to miss them. Brutus and Cayden. Brutus has always been regarded by his owners as a gentle giant, but especially with his first baby. Originally adopted by Bonnie and her husband in 2016, Brutus quickly became the center of the couple's lives and was totally pampered because the house had no children yet. Inundated with hugs and toys, this dog couldn't have asked for a better life and didn't want to. But being a bullmastiff, Brutus had a bit of a wacky nature, which means he was famous for destroying some of his new toys in his excitement. Well, all the toys except his favorite, a little yellow ball. Despite the misconceptions often associated with bullmastiffs, his imposing name, and his frightening ability to destroy toys, Brutus had always been a sweet, loving dog. Bonnie doesn't consider him a gentle giant for no reason. He doesn't seem to have an inch of meanness in his body. He has a heart of gold and is especially fond of and well-behaved around small children, perhaps due to their shared innocence and excited demeanor. Whatever it was, the strong connection to the children was truly highlighted when Bonnie became pregnant. Brutus's care for children made it not much of a surprise when he was the first to discover Bonnie's pregnancy. Before they had a chance to tell anyone, the couple looks back in surprise at how he became so overprotective of her in the early days of her pregnancy. One night in particular stood out. As Bonnie was home alone with her husband working the night shift, Brutus categorically refused to stay in his own bed and demanded to stay upstairs with Bonnie. Despite spending every night in his crate since he started living with the couple, Brutus was determined to sleep with Bonnie in her own bed. He cried and howled until Bonnie had no choice but to give in. Maybe he just didn't want to be in the box that night. But when Brutus still refused to sleep anywhere but beside her, Bonnie finally realized that all he wanted to do was be close enough to protect her in case of danger. It's not uncommon for dogs to be more alert and protective when their owners are pregnant, but it's not common knowledge that this happens all the time. Like any new parents, the couple was a little nervous about introducing Brutus to their newborn baby when he arrived. Brutus was a big dog, and although he was docile with children, he often forgot his size and weight due to excitement. All those fears were put to rest as Brutus surprised everyone when his new baby, Cayden, came into the world. Immediately, Brutus ran to his new baby brother and didn't hesitate to try to snuggle him. He was fully intent on giving him a kiss or two to welcome him. As cute as it was nothing compared to what Brutus ended up doing when his new little brother started crying. Do you remember that yellow ball Brutus was so fond of? The one toy he refused to destroy? Well, for some reason, every time his new baby brother, Cayden, started crying, Brutus would bring him a toy in the hopes that it would offer the same comfort that Brutus found in his toy. Now, it's safe to say that he and Cayden are inseparable and will remain best friends for the rest of their lives. According to Bonnie, they truly share a bond like no other. Didn't this story warm your heart? Harry and Yu-Yu. This dog sure took the loyalty of that friendship to the extreme. This 2-year-old girl, Yu-Yu, grew up with her family's golden retriever, Harry, who was adorably named after J.K. Rowling's famous character. The two formed a very close bond over her short life, and as a result, Harry cares for her relentlessly. In fact, they became so close that Harry didn't hesitate to defend her when she suffered a severe reprimand from her mother. According to Mrs. Sun, Yu-Yu's mother, the girl decided to use an extremely expensive, newly purchased face cream as a toy. Well, the face cream was completely wasted, which of course bothered Mrs. Sun a lot. She said, "I was honestly very upset. I just bought the cream and half of it was already gone. My daughter started crying because I was yelling at her quite aggressively. Obviously, Mrs. Sun thought that a quick reprimand would stop the child from doing something similar again. But before she could complete the heavy-handed lecture, Harry decided to voice his own opinion on the matter. In the video, you can see him very heroically standing in front of Yu-Yu and snarling at Mrs. Sun in defiance. While many expressed concern about signs of aggression from him, understanding that from Harry's perspective, someone was yelling at this little girl, which for him was a sign of aggression in itself. All he knew was that he needed to get involved to help defend Yu before the situation got worse. In the end, his growls were just warnings for Mrs. Sun to stay away from the girl. It's really cute. The video of Harry defending Yu quickly went viral. According to Mrs. Sun, she found the incident funny but irritating at the same time. Her anger subsided when she saw how loyal Harry was being. Still, how is Yu going to learn without getting scolded every now and then? Regardless, Mrs. Sun couldn't stop filming to share with others. For a moment in the video, Mrs. Sun tries to resolve the situation by pushing Harry away. That would have allowed her to finish the reprimand so the family could get on with their day. Then she ordered her firmly, "You, get up, stop protecting her, Harry." This had no effect. Instead, the sweet dog wrapped his body around Yu and rested his head on her shoulder to comfort her. After the incident, Mrs. Sun just looks at the funny side of it and knows that Yu has probably learned her lesson about the cream. Mrs. Sun wasn't so surprised after all, as apparently it wasn't the first time Harry had stepped in to take care of Yu. She said, "Whenever we speak to Yu in a harsh tone, Harry protects her and tries to protect her with his paws. He protects the child with his life." It's so incredibly cute how caring dogs can be and how willing they are to take care of the kids in their lives. Would anyone else want a Harry in their house? Charlie. Like Harry, Charlie the Beagle would do anything for the child in his family. This became very clear the moment Julia and Daniel brought their new daughter, Laura Olivia, home from the hospital. You've probably seen a video preview of this when Charlie conquered the world when his fatherly instincts were first shared. Videos of the Beagle swirled far and wide, cradling the little girl when she needed comfort and even helping with a diaper change. How strange and wonderful is that? Undoubtedly, the best thing about Charlie and Laura Olivia's friendship is the fact that almost all of their moments were recorded. Julia and Daniel have been making videos since day one and documenting all the important milestones in little Laura's life, including the first moment Charlie was introduced to her. From the moment he laid eyes on the girl, he clearly fell in love with her, and from there on, the rest is history. The couple had spent a lot of time training Charlie in all sorts of useful and useless tricks, like closing closet doors and fetching beers. That's why it was so easy for him to take on some of the babysitting duties. Despite being trained to do so, it's pretty clear that he loves what he does and loves the baby. And he loves baby Laura Olivia more than life itself. Wouldn't it be great if every new parent had a fully trained dog to share the burden of some household chores? Singing dog. As some of these stories show us, some new parents are lucky enough to get a little extra support from pets. It's nice to take advantage of these babysitters, isn't it? This little dog is just another beautiful example of dogs that do their best to take care of their human companions, and what he does will melt your heart. There's almost a sure way to get a baby to stop crying: by singing. There's something incredibly comforting about the soft, subtle sound of someone singing to a baby, and that little white dog knew that better than anyone. Because as soon as the baby started to cry, it started to howl. Although dogs are a little more difficult to understand than humans, we can only assume that the dog meant this as a comforting gesture. Whatever his intentions, soon the baby stopped crying and looked delightedly at the dog. But the little dog didn't stop there. He continued with his calming howls until the baby fell asleep. Who knew dogs would be such amazing parents to kids? These stories totally melted my heart. What about yours? Thanks for watching, and see you in another video.